I want to call to order the meeting of the Public Safety Committee for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. It's good to see each and every one of you here tonight on this stormy night. Just to let you know that the Public Health and Safety Building storm shelters opened at 4:15 today. They're available in Walter Hill, Lascassas, Rockville, and Kittrell. I have talked to Director Chris Clark. He will not be here tonight due to the many different storms around the area. He's in the process of monitoring all of those, so we'll deal with that when his report comes up. But he did want me to remind everybody that those shelters have been opened and are available to the people in those areas or who can come to those shelters if needed, because I think we are under a tornado watch until about 10 o'clock tonight. So that is being done. We'll begin with the approval of the minutes, and I'll call on my vice chairman to do that. Mr. Rathler.
Thank you, Chairman. I reviewed the minutes, found them to be in order. One thing Rachel is going to add, Commissioner James' request from Director Clark about dispatch numbers by building or whatever. That's going to be added from last month. But other than that, find them all to be in order, move for their approval.
Okay, we have a motion for approval. We have a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, minutes have been approved. Any public comments? No public comments.
Chairman Reed, if I could make a comment, if you don't mind,
yes,
please.
Yes, sir. You're public.
I'd like to commend and thank Juvenile Detention, Lynn Duke, Emergency Services, Chris Clark, Emergency Medical Services, Brian Gaither, Fire and Rescue Chief Farley, Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Fitzhugh, and Deputy Chief Steve Spence, PAWS Report, Michael Gregory, Risk Management, Ed Elam, Recovery Court, Ms. Ricks, Probation, Mr. Haley, Correctional Work Center, Superintendent William Cope, have all presented their budgets and have all presented a zero-based budget with the exception of step pay raises and a couple of promotions. They did an outstanding job, and it flew through the budget process, and all of these departments are to be commended for trying to hold the line as it relates to taxpayers of Rutherford County. I'd like to commend them and thank them for doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you saying that, and yes, they've worked hard at that and trying to get that accomplished, and appreciate it. We'll begin in item 3 with juvenile detention. Director Lynn Duke. Lynn Duke was hoping to be at a baseball game tonight that her son was playing in, going into the state championships, but due to the storms, it got moved possibly for tomorrow sometime.
Thank you for your kind words. We all do our very best to make sure that we're taking care and doing the best we can with taxpayer money. In front of you, you will see the report from juvenile detention that you're used to seeing, starting off with our board minutes, our yearly activity report, those charges who were booked in, those who were released, our stats, our STD stats, and our facility programming. There's nothing particular that stands out that we need to address, but I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Commissioners, any questions for the director? Move to approve. Have a motion to approve. Have
second.
And a second. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, your report has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4 is emergency services, which is public safety report and radio emergency, and that's usually done through Director Chris Clark. And like I said, he's not here tonight because he's out doing his job. You have the report and it's here. There were no budget amendments or anything of that type. What you might want to do tonight is just to defer that to our next public safety meeting, and we can approve it at that time if you'd like to do that.
Motion to defer.
We got a motion to defer. Second. We have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, it has been deferred to our next meeting. Item 5, emergency medical service, Brian Gaither. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Before you is our April report. We did a total of 3,740 calls. We had 150 DOAs for the month. 26 of those went for autopsies. We collected $1,060,069. That's the bottom of that page is cost per mile. The next page is some in-services and trainings that we had, some community relation events. Our convalescent division did 379 calls, collected $138,051. There is multiple thank you notes or emails that we received this month, so I encourage you, if you haven't read those, to read those, and then the next few pages is that more detailed report of our call volume and where the calls were located. And that's my report.
Commissioners, you've heard the report. Any questions, comments, or a motion?
Move to approve.
A motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Your report has been approved.
I've spoken with Sonia Stevenson and Michael Smith. We have a total of 6 paramedics who have either completed or will be completing the requirements to move from a paramedic 1 to a paramedic 2 position. So I'm asking to reclassify 6 of those positions. That money is within our budget to do so. And I know kind of sprung that last minute, but this conversation just happened over the past 2 or 3 days.
Just real quickly, can you give like a little synopsis of what a paramedic 1 versus a paramedic 2 is?
So paramedic 2 is a paramedic that goes through a critical care course, which is, depending on where you go, it's about a 12-week course. There's a state certification test at the end of that. They are also vent certified and rapid sequence intubation, so they're able to use different medications to induce an intubation procedure.
Thank you for that. And sorry, another follow-up question. Does a paramedic 1 and a paramedic 2 ride with each other, or how does it work? I'm just curious.
Sometimes they do. So we do not require all of our paramedics to be paramedic 2s because they have to put a little skin in the game to get that. Most of them want the extra training, so it does change their scope a little bit. They're able to do a few other things, and I wished I had the numbers of paramedic 1s versus paramedic 2s, but we in the past we started out with X amount of those 2 positions, but they have slowly increased because majority of our staff wants to increase their education.
Thank you.
Question. What's the salary difference in a P1 versus a P2?
So it's 1 pay grade, and I do know that these 6 positions for these 6 individuals over a whole year would, I think Sonia told me it was around $15,000, but that's across 6 people. So obviously it won't impact our budget that amount, but if you break it down monthly.
Thank you.
How many slots are there open for the paramedic 2 versus how many will be like the paramedic 1? Will you, like, I guess what tiers? I'm thinking of it, and I might be thinking of it wrong in your hierarchy very much like the Army. If too many privates get promoted to general, you have all generals and no privates. So who's doing the work on that level? So do we need paramedic ones if we kind of empty the ranks, or are we going to need to refill them as we progress?
Ideally, it would be best if they were all paramedic twos, but obviously we do not require, and some of our paramedic ones, they may have portions of that training. Like they may have the critical care certification, but not the vent or RSI, or they may have RSI and not the other two, so.
So it's more of a skill set more than an actual position available, open position kind of thing, so.
Yes.
Okay. If there's no more discussion, I'll move to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Second. And we have a second. Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And then one last thing real quick, this week is EMS week. So just to publicly thank our EMTs and paramedics for the work that they do every day. I mean, these individuals are with our citizens in some of their, most crucial times, moments of their life. So our staff, they care about this organization and this community. So just wanted to publicly say how proud I am of them and recognize them. So thank you.
Mr. Director?
Yes, sir.
I can say from experience that when you step into the back of one of those little vans out there, you wish every one of those paramedics were, or maybe all the way up to 3 and 4.
Yes, sir.
Because they're looking at you. But I want to show you something, what I've been wearing right here.
That's a good looking hat.
I wear your hat proudly.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, item 6, Fire and Rescue Report. Chief Farley.
Good evening. When you do head home, I'm getting reports over my phone right now of down power lines across the county. So be careful as you make your way home tonight, because you may encounter one of those. Hopefully not. For the month of April, we ran 677 calls. 4 of those are structure fires, 357 medical calls, and 31 MVAs, motor vehicle accidents with injuries, 36 without, and 2 extrications. Year to date, we have run 2,766 calls, 37 structure fires, 1,467 medical calls, 87 MVA with injuries, and 149 MVAs without injuries, and 8 extrications. The next sheet shows countywide response, and a total of 48 structure fires. Brush fires were 46, illegal burns are 34, vehicle fires 26, 319 MVAs, and for a total call countywide 3,052 calls. Next document is what we turn into the Codes Department and Tax Assessor for damaged structures. And then the next report is our Fire Marshal's report and their investigations and what the conclusions of those investigations were. We had 5 smoke alarm installations last month. And then the last page is a document showing all of our illegal burns in the county and where they're located. And that concludes my report.
Commissioners, questions, comments?
I have a question, please.
Okay?
And this is just because of Director Gaither's report. When I was looking on here and it says EMS service incidents on your monthly report, is that where they're coordinating with you, or do you have your own set of EMS professionals as well?
We have some paramedics on our department. We have some EMTs. We have some AMTs, which is advanced EMTs, and which is standard whenever if the budget's passed, we'll hire 12 new employees this time. We'll put them through a 14-week rookie recruit class, and at the last 2 weeks of that class, we'll teach them EMR, which is Emergency Medical Responder, which is the very first step of medical. And then any of those who wish to go on to EMT, we'll put them through school and help them with that. And so we have some that's gone. We've had several of our people who've come in as an EMR, went through EMT, AMT, and paramedics. But that's above advanced EMT. It's pretty much up to them. But basically what we do, we are able to provide medical care on MVAs, people who are injured, and a lot of times we respond with EMS on major calls. If it's a CPR in progress or somebody unresponsive, somebody like that on serious calls, we respond and help them.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? It is approved.
Thank you. Y'all be safe going home tonight.
Chief, I wanted to thank you. Last month, you were the only phone call I got afterwards and reported, and we had a good discussion about those reports and so forth. So I just wanted to I call you out on many things. So I wanted to make sure I call you out on and say thank you for reaching out to me.
Well, I appreciate the kind comments. Thank you.
Okay. Moving now to the Sheriff's Office. Chief Spence.
Good evening. This morning our inmate population was 1,005 and this afternoon was 1,006. Update on our openings. Communications has 5 openings. 1 applicant is in background process. 3 are scheduled to start June 9th. Detention has 22 openings. 4 are scheduled to start May 27th and 1 starting June 2nd. Very proud of our recruitment team to recruit and get some good applicants for our detention slots. That's the end of my report.
You've heard the report, and you've received other information that's come from the Sheriff's Office that's part of this report. Any questions?
I do have a question, Chief.
Okay.
When I look at your detention center report and I see you're over your limit, it looks like 164 individuals are classified as other. Are any of them immigrants?
That could be a mixture of one inmate could be a mixture of everybody, you know, homeless or
Well, when you classify them as white, black, or other is what I'm talking about.
Yes, but
Now, I was curious about that other category.
Sorry, I've got it here. Let me find it.
Okay.
I don't have it with me. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, it's no problem. It's just you have a other category. You have white, black, or other, and I was curious about the other category, how those individuals are classified. Are they immigrants or what?
Well, some of them don't classify as a race. They just leave it blank.
Uh-huh.
So that would be the other.
Okay, so if they were, if they were.
Sheriff's raising his hand.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We do not hold anybody on immigration charges.
Okay.
That's a federal charge. It's a civil charge. Everybody that we hold, regardless of birth, is committed a crime in Rutherford County. They have to meet the court system here on their crime or bond out here. If they fall into the immigration status, then the federal takes out a civil warrant, and then they come and pick them up if they're wanted by federal authorities. But we don't hold anybody for immigration.
Right. I wasn't saying you hold them because of that, but because of the way they're classified. I was curious, and I just wanted to know the process and if ICE was involved or whatever the case may be. So they do get the due process, and then
Correct.
if something comes up, then
Correct.
there. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Okay, the foreign warrant is, I could be anybody that's identified, could be any nationality. We don't try to classify it down that way. So it could be Spanish, Asian, and so forth.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The report has been approved, and I believe you have two
Yes, sir.
budget amendments. Okay, sir.
This amendment is to recognize revenue from other charges and sales of materials and supplies to place into our motor vehicle line item, asking to take $14,990 from other charges, $77,706 from our sales of materials and supplies, and placing the total $92,696 into our motor vehicle line item.
Commissioners, you've heard the request.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? If not, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes,
Motion passes.
it passes. Next one.
This amendment is to recognize revenue from cost sharing and sales of materials and supplies to place into our law enforcement equipment line item, asking the $25,000 from our law enforcement training program, $8,000 from the sales of materials and supplies, and placing the total $33,000 into our law enforcement equipment line item.
Commissioners, you've heard the request. Had a motion to approve and a second. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly, Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes,
Motion passes.
it passes.
We have a grant request. We're requesting to apply for the financial year 25 Department of Justice Community-Oriented Policing Service Grant. This grant is a 3-year grant, a 75-25 match. If awarded, we intend to utilize these funds to hire deputies for traffic safety education and enforcement. We're looking at around $800,000 that we're going to request.
You've heard the request. Questions?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Question, please.
Yes.
Regarding the match, that would just come from our general fund balance? The 25% match that we would have to do?
We had to get fund sign balance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Commissioner James, Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly, Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes,
Motion passes.
it passes.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Chief, quick question real
Yes.
quick. If an individual or an organization is having type of an event or whatever, is there a certain amount of people that's allowed, if they're in an event, for them to have some type of security, whether it's like getting people in and out, or once they get inside of a, I don't know, say a big ball field or whatever, do they have to request a permit? And are you all aware of like the plans of like this, how to get in and out of that particular event should something arise?
That would be more of the fire marshals. They'd have to do a permit for the number of people they're going to have there and follow their procedures.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I think that's it. Thank you, sir. PAWS? Director Michael Gregory. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. For the month of April, we had 404 animals come into the shelter. We had a live release rate for dogs of 92.3%, cats of 94%, and when you include wildlife, it was 92.8%. Surgery program was very busy. 265 animals went through that. 27 cats went through the TNR program. Our officers completed 1,323 calls, and they traveled 7,022 miles. Fiscal year to date, 3,909 animals in the shelter, a euthanasia rate of 5.8%, a live release rate of 91.8%. Officers completed out 11,302 calls, traveling a little over 74,000 miles. The rabies exposure and bite report for the month of April, you'll recall this does go by a calendar year, not fiscal year. We had 34 bites for the month. We had 11 other exposures. One of those other exposures was sent for testing, and it did come back positive. It was a skunk that was killed by a dog. And then the last page of the report is just the graph that I give you to show you the outcomes. That's my report, sir.
You've heard the report.
Motion to
Questions?
approve.
Second.
A motion to approve and a second.
I do have a question, please. Director, when you do out-of-county intakes, how does that work? Someone just, or they just happen to be out of county and they pick somebody up, or not somebody but an animal?
Typically, it would be something that somebody would have picked up, but they may have found it in our county, or it may be questionable where within the county they found it, so we might go ahead and accept that for a very rare case, but we're not accepting out of counties very often. We have that, as you can imagine, attempt to happen quite frequently from Canning County.
Yeah, okay,
Yes, ma'am.
I just
but
noticed that.
That's very, very rare.
Okay.
Most
Thank
of the out-of-county calls that you'll see, though, that could be a call that initiated in our county, and then there was follow-up for vet care. Somebody may have come and adopted from us and lives in Antioch, so we would put in a call, and that would be an out-of-county call where we're following up for vet care or things such as that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All those in favor, approving the report, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it has been approved.
Thank you all.
Thank
Michael,
you, sir.
before you leave, are you staffed?
We are, as of next Tuesday, we will be down 1 animal control officer, 2 part-time positions, and 2 full-time positions. We do have Thursday set aside for quite a few interviews. The biggest problem still remains is getting the folks in, staying, and retaining them. The training for an officer, is quite long. So we've got a couple that have been out on FMLA, so that's hurt a little bit as well. We're getting there. It's better than it was. So I appreciate y'all's support, especially with the raise that we had back in January and the things that y'all are looking to do in the next fiscal year. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir. OSHA? Mr. Ed Elam. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman Reed. Ms. Lahue, good to see you back. So for the OSHA report for the incident for April 2025, you'll see a total of 24. For the calendar year, you see 74. With the Board of Ed, there were 17. Rutherford County General, there was 6. Highway was 1. In the Rutherford County General, PAWS had 1. Sheriff's Office had 5. For the total recordable, there's 52. Lost day claims is 10. Restricted day claims 32. Recordables 10. Reserves at 69,345. Year-to-date reserves 325,980. Year-to-date amount paid out is 65,250, and with 25 closed claims. And Commissioner Oliver, I did not forget your request from last month. This meeting kind of slipped up on me a little bit, so we didn't get the numbers and the data sifted out and put together to add to that report. But I just wanted to apologize. I hadn't forgot you. I just didn't get to it this month. So, and that includes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Questions or comments? Or a motion?
So move.
We got a
Second.
and a second. Okay, sir. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? It has been approved.
Thank you. Have a good night and be safe.
Thank you. Recovery Court. Michelle Ricks.
Good evening. The Recovery Court report for April. In our program, we had 191 participants. We had 6 graduates and 1 termination. Our drug court program currently has 60 participants with 44 assessments in process. Our mental health court has 67 participants with 29 assessments in process. DUI court, in our day program, we have 19. In our evening program, we have 20, and there are 24 assessments in process. In our Veterans Court, we have 30 participants and 11 assessments in process. And that concludes my report.
You've heard the report. Questions? Or a motion?
Move to approve.
A motion to approve. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? It has been approved. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Probation Report. Kelly Haley. Good evening.
Good evening. On our probation report for April of 2025, we closed out a total number of 237 cases, which equaled 200 clients. We supervised an active total of 1,428 clients. In our various programs and classes, we had 66 enrolled for the month, 28 completed during the month of April, and 3 were discharged. During the month of April, our staff completed 41 drug and alcohol assessments and 5 mental health assessments. In Ten Rocks Court, there were 12 participants. We were able to assist 8 clients with our olive branch for the month of April. And then on your bottom section, we sent $20,349 for payment plans during the month, which brought that fiscal year total to $158,546. The amount that was not put into a payment plan was $9,886, which brought that fiscal year total to $69,122.50. And that would be my report.
You've heard the report. Motion or questions?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Your report has been approved.
Great, thank you.
We come to Correctional Work Center. Lieutenant Ted O'Cleary. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, folks. The first section you will see is our board meeting that we have. Next one is our work release program, still going good. Our yearly activity report is the next one. Same as across the board, we're still doing good. Our inmates have picked up 13,950 pounds of trash throughout our county. With that adult in custody labor that we've saved the county $63,168. Our medical CQI stats, same as the month before. You will see our next one is real quick. It's an expungement clinic that we had recently. We had 42 participants, and of those 42 participants, they had 398 of their records expunged. Their record was expunged, so felons got a lot of their things expunged. So it was a very good thing. The next one you see, we had a guest speaker, Dennis Jordan, who unfortunately lost his daughter. She was a inmate of ours for quite some time. So he came back and spoke to our inmates and had a real good talk with them and was able to speak, from his heart with them. And that concludes my report. I have 3 contracts to go over afterwards, but we'll wait.
Any questions on the report? Have a motion to approve the report and a second. All in favor, say aye.
I do have a question.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I always wait for a motion before I ask a question, so, because that's technically the way we're supposed to do it. Anyway, I was curious about your expungement clinic.
Yes, ma'am.
Once that they go through that clinic, say for instance on that day, when is that actually wiped?
When does it go into effect? It takes a little bit because what they need to do is they'll compile everything. So we have, this one we had our Belmont Law students from the Belmont Law. They come in, they'll compile everything, they make sure that it qualifies, they make sure it's okay, and then once they get back, they'll turn it into the court systems. But it's usually anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks sometimes, but it's a very short amount of time.
Now, who covers the fees that are usually associated with that?
We have a saying, we call it free 99.
Okay.
Nothing, that's all volunteer.
Charged anything?
None,
Okay.
none.
I know
And it's one of the
people that have
benefits of
had
them
that,
being
and they've
there.
had to pay fees, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, no, that's one of the benefits of it being done in our facility. It's all free,
Gotcha.
all
All right.
volunteer.
All right,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Absolutely. So I have,
Wait a minute, we hadn't voted on that motion yet. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, sir.
my apologies.
Go for it.
So I have 3 contracts that, for your review. They're all, 2 of them are contracts that are just, annual renewals, and we've had both of them for over 10 years each. The other one is something very recent. First one is Corson Fire and Alarm. They monitor our fire systems, our alarm systems and whatnot. We've had them since 2011 or more. It went up $410 from last year, but basically it's the same price. So if you guys want to do it individually, or if you want me to read all 3 and we can
We'll
do
do
it.
them separately.
Okay, and that's it for the Corson.
You're saying the request. I think we've had a motion already in a second, have we?
Thank you.
Wait a minute, okay. Any discussion on this? Call the roll.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly? Yes. Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, your next one?
Thank you. The next one is ATEC, and what this is a preventative maintenance company that we use. We've had it since last year, but what it does is it saves us exponentially amount of money because we can do preventive maintenance of anything that we have in our kitchen, and this is specifically for our kitchen, burners, ovens, stuff like that. So no price increase from last year.
Question or a motion? Motion to approve. Commissioner, I'd ask you to, when you make a motion, to use the mic.
Sure will, I have no problem.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
And a second. Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly? Yes. Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner James? Yes. Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And the last one that we have is, it's actually the state highway contract. It's reoccurring. We've had it again for years. And basically, it's them paying us to clean up the highways within our county.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve in a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly? Yes. Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Chairman Reed?
Yes,
Motion passes.
passes.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate you.
Sure.
Have a great night.
Appreciate you. Other business? If not, everybody please, yes, sir?
We have that compensation, just the figures from budget. Under other business, it's on the iPads. Good to proceed if everybody's on there.
Is it on the iPad? Yes, sir. Okay.
The background is more for anybody who's reading for what we've done up until today. I think we're all abreast of where we were and what we asked, Public Safety had asked budget to look into. You scroll through, basically, our longevity request increase, I think that was Commissioner James's proposal, increasing to $100,000 a year would cost an additional $800,000. That's up from the $266,000. Right now, we recognize up to 5 years of relative experience. Increasing that to 10 years would cost about $1.5 million per year. Then we also did a compensation study in January of 2025 that gave us a 50th percentile target. Based on the mayor's projection or mayor's proposed budget, he has included that 50th percentile in there. However, we're seeing the 70th percentile being a lot more of what our competitive entities are adopting. They're not just resting at the 50th percentile, they are increasing it. That's something we need to look at if we're going to stay competitive. You look at some of the case studies here, just showing Rutherford County where we fall with detention deputies, booking patrol deputies. As of right now, Rutherford County is the lowest paid patrol deputy or patrol officer in the county. Not much by Laverne, but we are the lowest. Our firefighter has us the lowest paid firefighters in the county, along with our, you'll see the paramedic comparison. That being said, how much is all that going to cost? That's the short answer. Longevity is going to cost us about $800,000. Experience recognition, again, is about $1.5 million. The 50th percentile target is already budgeted from Mayor Carr. The military service retirement credit, that's going to take a little bit more digging because it's unique to each individual employee, but that's something they're looking into. I found it interesting, though. I serve on a committee with the chief of the Franklin Police Department, and they were able to calculate every amount of turnover costs their city about $100,000 per officer to get a new person in there, whether it be the cost of supplies, overtime to cover that person's loss. So we're looking at about $100,000. So I guess the next question is, what are we asking budget to do? That 70th percentile target, those numbers are actually adjusted a little bit more. That puts us just over $60,000 for a Patrol 2 certified deputy. That is step 2. There's not a step 1 patrol certified deputy because we recognize experience in the county. So that puts them at step 2. Booking detention at around the 70th percentile would probably put us at about $52,000. Firefighter 2 certified will put them at $58,000, and then paramedic around $68,000. One plan receive proportional increases to prevent the compression, but the total cost of the 70th percentile is about $5.9 million. There's many ways to achieve that. This is kind of an a la carte option of what we think, but these are really what the figures are going to cost. The longevity and experience recognition are kind of set, but 70th percentile target, there are some options you can do to get to the 70th percentile for the sheriff's office is about 4% increase, or I'm sorry, a 3% increase, and then paramedic and or EMS and fire department are about 10% on top of that. If we did a 3% lift to the table, that would be $3 million base, would allow, and that would cut, pretty much take care of the sheriff's office and leave us just with the paramedic and fire department left to get up to that percentile. So honestly, it's kind of budget meets on the 29th to talk about salaries. What do we want to ask them to do, if anything?
Any questions for Mr. Beverly?
So, are you proposing we roll this to budget and have them take a look at this?
I do. I think employees are waiting to see where they want to take their careers and what they want to do. And I think we need to take a long look of what the cost of our actions will be on a fiscal note and what the cost of kicking the can down the road could cost us in turnover, overtime pay, and retention issues. So I think we ask them, take a look at this and what can we fund? What can we invest in?
So we're asking for an 8.2 million increase to the budget?
That's what I want to get everybody's input on, because that's a huge undertaking and it's a huge investment. And what do we want and where do we prioritize? That 70th percentile target, again, 3% to the lift to the SRO, 3% to the sheriff's office salaries will get them around the 70th percentile. We need 10% to for EMS and fire department. However, that's just our first responders getting to 70th percentile. For the whole county, you could do a potential 3% lift to the table for everybody. That's about $3 million. And then to attack the remaining 7% would put us at around $5.8 million for those other two departments. The easiest way, I think, maybe for HR would be like a total lift to everyone. And then we just have to narrow it down, any additional ones to EMS and fire department, instead of going line item by line item.
That was going to be my question. Is it for all employees of these various departments?
I think it's a step. I think, no pun intended with the step increase, I think that's movement in the right direction. But we have to know what our income is going to be and make sure that our tax roll is solid. And then we have to see what our expenses are coming from the schools, where we're committed on salaries, and then decide where we want to invest and how we want to do this. And I think putting a dollar sign in front of budget tells them what our target is. And I think the 8.2 is about where we probably need to fall. That's just my opinion, but I'm one of 21.
Other questions?
Well, I know for me, personally, I'm on board with this. I know we should have further discussions and things like that, and send it on to budget, because we want to be proactive and not just sitting around doing anything. At least we can say we're sending it on. We're trying to make some type of improvements, because at the end of the day, those individuals, they work here, they play here, and they take care of us all. So I would make the motion to send this on, the recommendation per Commissioner Beverly's comments on the budget, and then if we have further discussion in between time, we can.
Second.
It's to clarify the whole thing.
You go ahead and clarify it up.
So I know I'm asking you to clarify the whole 8.2.
Yeah, to send this, I make a motion to send this report on to budget, to look at the numbers to see how they want to proceed on this. So if you want to clean it up, you can.
8.2, yes.
I want to make sure that the 8.2 million is in there. You didn't say that, so I just wanted to make sure you cool with the 8.2 million.
I'll make a motion to send this report onto budget that reflects the $8.2 million in regards to the pay study for our county employees.
And I will second that.
I think this is great. Guys, we have first responders in this community that are donating plasma to make ends meet. That's where we're at. And I think this right here shows them we recognize the sacrifices you've made. This is a core government function to say when somebody calls 911, qualified folks show up that are not overworked and underpaid, or that are willing to help. And I think we have the opportunity to help them.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
You've done all of this on salaries and salaries alone, is that right?
I'm not sure. Maybe could you clarify?
You've done this totally on the salaries of the individuals when you compared it only to the salaries of the other offices, like Williamson County, Franklin. Everything's based totally on salary.
On their salary.
Have you done any looking into benefits in comparison to Rutherford County, to Williamson County, to Wilson County, where benefits are figured in there as well?
So the exact 70th percentile is the target for a lot of our neighboring agencies on what they want, but you bring up a great point. We offer about 4.9 or 4.35% more contribution to retirement than other agencies. So by my math, we need to be getting in the ballpark of 94, 95% of that 70th percentile target to make us comparable. Because while they may make more here, we contribute more to retirement. So that needs to be factored in, that extra 4.5%. And that's where I believe getting us to the 70th percentile, those kind of figures I gave you on the targeting starting salaries, kind of put us at about 95% of that 70th percentile, accounting for the differences in what our insurance or cost, what our retirement benefits are, what we can offer the employee, I think is far different. Because even if we look at what the longevity increase is, that's lower than what some neighboring agencies offer. So that's all, it's trying to, as we approach this on an a la carte option of saying, yes, we might be lower here, but we're being the best we can in other areas to try to make it as within that 95% target is where I was.
Now the question, 8.2 million, do you think that's going to raise the tax rate?
I'm not sure, and that's where budget's going to have to look at that, where we have our income streams, where we're looking at shifting pennies around in the upcoming budget. And then that's going to be a hard question. We have to decide of, do we want to invest that money with the potential effect it could cause? Or is there a way to shift the budget around? That's the question that has to be answered. But your question after that, if budget comes back and says, no, it's not there, we have to be prepared to answer that.
Well,
and that's where each one of us have to look into us and say, where do we prioritize the service that this provides on the necessity of the tax roll? And I think there's a case to be made of, we voted to spend $15 million on a forensic center when current operations cost us $1 million a year. If we lose 10 people in the sheriff's department, 10 in EMS, and 10 in the fire department, how much will it cost us to get these people back and then cover their workload in the intermediate? It might be much more. We might be on the hook for some other things. What we don't want to do is turn into the training wheels of other departments where we have people here, one, on the streets with little experience making life or death decisions, but also you have supervision making those that are acting on behalf of the county that could entangle us in some potential lawsuits or anything like that. This is a recruitment tool. This is a retention tool, just with the longevity. And it gives us the opportunity to try to make a step in the right direction and show this is our plan, this is our target, how are we going to get there? So to answer your question, I don't know, but that's up to each of us 21 commissioners to decide. That's something I want to invest in, and here's my line here's the line I'm willing to take it to.
I don't know, Mr. Chairman, I don't know on this if the numbers will make it for this budget. Honestly, budget committee might shoot it back to us and say it's not there without raising the tax rate. But I like the idea of putting a number on it, so we have, if it's not part of this year's budget, that we have the year with a goal to get towards. That's where I'm looking at this. At least now we've got real numbers to figure out and to work with and to begin the discussion to get it starting to get moved in the right direction. So I appreciate that.
I think you're exactly right. I feel like our finance department, our HR department, the mayor, they've got us to first and goal. We just got to get that final touchdown, and we're not that far off. This is where we're at. So I think we're making great strides.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. I'm going to ask you to call the roll, please.
Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
I'm going to vote yes, so you have the opportunity to have a full vote from the public safety. being the old man sitting up here and thinks logic, you're going to get a no, I think, from the budget when it comes back, because that's a huge number that they're going to look at, but with an understanding that we've already done halfway through the period. They've already done one of these, and they're already doing another one here. But you've given information that we don't have. And that's a lot of work that you have actually done and presented there. And you've given a lot of study and a lot of information, just like Commissioner James says there. You've got a point to work from. But I think in this budget right here, I'm just like Commissioner James there, I just don't think you'll see it in this budget. And but I'll go yes with you and say, yo, roll it out there and see what we've got and go from that direction.
And I appreciate that, and I think that's the best we can do at this point.
Yes, sir.
If we're ready to move for other business, I have a request to make and
What's
would
that
like to
request,
see.
sir?
I looked at last night at the budget meeting and found that some of the funds that I was initially trying to pool are being earmarked for another source and valued source, it looks like, out there, but it still doesn't take away the need. And I'd like to request that we send a request to budget to add to the Amiable Fire Volunteer Department an additional $40,000 in their annual budget, and to get that raised. So with that, I'd like to, unless there's, well, for discussion, I'd like to make the motion that we raise Amiable Volunteer Fire Department's annual salary by $40,000.
We've had a motion. Do you have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
It's been second for discussion, open for discussion.
I agree for the need there. And seeing, especially if we're pivoting from the potential funding sources, are we asking them to make the change, or are we just kind of saying, hey, similar to what we just passed, we think this is a need, can you find a place to fill it? I guess.
I'd like to ask for the addition. That's what the request is there is a need with the initial rising cost, with the fleets going down, with the excessive amounts of calls that we're seeing and using. There is a need, and the fact that as this county is growing, we don't currently have the ability to move out to that section of the county for a minimum of 2 years while we're waiting for sewer or other projects to get on its feet out there. And so it would be imperative to maintain a good, healthy group. They've got the personnel, they've got the equipment, they've got the tools at hand. It's just the cost of the things that we require with our agreement with them, the insurance, the operational fees, have risen just like everything else across the board that everybody has seen, and yet their income has not. So for at least the next 2 years, we're going to need to make sure that we keep them solid, so that side of the county has solid financial backing from us as we're using them and needing them and calling on them. So I wanted to make sure that they had that bump, and that's an extra $10,000 per quarter on them. Same criteria with the original contract, same requirements as they're paying the things. They don't, if they didn't provide their steps, then they're not getting the funds. Same releasing, nothing changes, just the amount to value the difference in the actual cost that has gone up over the last couple of years for this department.
I guess, can we give them kind of a roadmap to say, hey, for instance, Chief Spence spoke, if we get the grant, it's through unassigned fund balance. Are we wanting to just pull 40 from unassigned fund balance to do that? Is it kind of, I was just more saying, I get the need and perfectly, what's the roadmap, I guess. What are you thinking?
I'm looking at unassigned fund balance. I was originally going to go from Christiana because they were going off a line. And they would get their first quarter of $20,000, and then October 1st, Plainview would come online. But as it turns out, a lot of the Christiana Volunteer Department is moving into the Fosterville location and will add on. So by not having, my original plan was to take $20,000 to fund Christiana until they're closed and Plainview's open, per se. And then there's 60 remaining, and 40 of it to give for Amiable because to keep them going, to keep the operational needs that we need with that, and then 20,000 was to be saved in general fund. But with them moving location or changing to the Fosterville location and maintaining operation, for the remaining of the year, they'll need to keep that fee. So without that funds in the same line, I'm looking to increase that line off of the general fund to make sure that we keep Amable solid and intact. Oh, I say general fund, I meant unassigned fund balance. Yes, you're correct.
All right, so just making sure the motion is to request them to amend it prior to publication from 40,000 to increase them 40,000 from unassigned fund balance.
That's correct. That's correct.
May I ask a question?
You may. That's what we're doing right now.
I have not watched last night's meeting, just finished watching the one from last week. What was the discussion on this point last night? Was it some of what you just said, or what was the response from budget?
The same thing, and the response was when they came out with the approach was to move the Christiana's volunteer into the Fosterville location and continue operation. So that kind of ate away the funds I was initially looking for, and since that's why tonight I'm asking to pull from the other way to make sure that we're solid.
Commissioner Oliver, Christiana has requested that they remain. This is something the other departments didn't do. They've requested that they remain in the area to go into the Fosterville Midland, the old fire station. It's a very nice fire station. It was well built. It has upstairs bedrooms. It has kitchen. It has everything. The reason to do so is that is a very far distance if you've ever been out that way towards Midland. This will give an extra protection for the people in that area, and it will increase time for them to get to people out there who have fires and things of this type. That is also an area where we have actually looked at the possibility, I know we have in the past when I was commissioner out there, of using that station for an ambulance station. And I think by putting somebody in there, this may be a possibility of putting an ambulance in there too, along with a fire engine. It could possibly come as much as a health and public safety building on that end of the county. So Christiana was willing to go into there and use that station. And so they were willing to hang on and do that because they have several trained men to do that. So they have basically asked the chief if they could do so, and it was gone through the mayor, and the mayor agreed along with it. So that's what that was. Other discussion?
Forgive me if I've missed this. Was there any type of vote or anything last night on this? I don't think so. Or was there a discussion?
There was discussion, but there wasn't a vote.
No recommendation to send it or anything? Okay. I was just, because I haven't been able to watch the meeting from last night as well, so that's why I was asking. Thank you.
No, last night during the discussion, this came out, so I had to, there was no vote, no motion, no second made. I'm not on that committee. Nobody brought it up for the motion or the second. It wasn't done. I had to kind of reassess, recalibrate, trying to figure out, okay, well, where the funds get, since the funds are being used in a different manner than I originally was looking at. So that's why it's back tonight with looking at the different funds. So that way Christiana can maintain their operation at Fosterville, and Amable can still get the funds that they need.
Mr. Sereno.
Yes, Commissioner James asked yes last night, and so this one will be appear for the budget tomorrow, or okay? So that's my question.
Okay.
I guess I did one other question on, was Chief Farley approached about this change?
Last night's meeting, yes, and he's the one who filled me in about the plan.
Okay.
With going Christiana, staying open, maintaining operation out of Fosterville.
I guess, but what's his feelings on 40,000 out of unassigned fund balance? And I guess if we just kind of came up with that, so it might not have been discussed.
No, the discussion kind of ended with the idea that the money that I was originally going to use was already being operated, and he already had earmarked and planned. So I recalibrated, trying to figure out where the funds or potential of the funding could be. So, but as he's mentioned many times before up here, that he's in favor of making sure we have the best adequate responses countywide, and we don't have risk any gaps or any delayed responses, so.
Do you think we could also get with Michael Smith in between now and the 29th when it goes out for when it will go out for publication to make sure unassigned fund balance is the best, or maybe he can come up with something, but we still accomplish that 40,000 target?
Well, I'm confident that it's there and it can be accomplished, but I'm also more confident that by sending it to budget now as we're going through this process, that they will be able to find it. If there's any reason why they can't, just like with your proposal, they'd end up saying back, hey, we can't find 40,000.
Sounds good.
So.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner James? Commissioner Rather? Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly?
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
No. Motion?
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Any other discussion? If not, we're adjourned.